Agavere Nimbara. Good morning, everyone. Good evening. I would like to start with English version, like about. I'll try to be as brief as I can in English. Then I'll be talking to. I'll be speaking in Mandinka for the rest of the program. First of all, I just want to bring it to your attention that a lot of things are being said right now in the diaspora, but not so much is being said in the Gambia. Diaspora is a constituency that will probably, I hope they give diaspora a constituency, but definitely the diaspora, if in fact we can be a constituency, will be more noisy. We will be even noisier than the Gambia, Senegal, Casamance combined. Believe me, because what I see here is, excuse me, what I'm seeing here is people having, we had patience with Yaya Jammeh for 22 good years. He killed us, he tortured us, he raped our women, and did everything that he wanted to do to us, as long as he finds it, he finds it as something that is in his interest, and then he doesn't care if we like it or not. Jammeh did everything to us. He was so brutal to us. But for 22 years, a lot of these people, in fact, they once worked with him, they were part of the system, and believed that everything will be fine one day. But Adama Barrow came to office. It's just 2 months. No patience. When you talk about lapse or elapse in every sector of Adama's government, when you talk to them about having patience, they will tell you that we don't want to hear that now. This is a pity. This is a pity. They started their campaign, first of all, by, they started talking about Adama's appearance, his grammar, cabinet composition was being, only one tribe is being selected into the cabinet. But then later, they knew that was not true when the cabinet appointments were almost completed. So, just like the APRC, these people, they will suffer a slow death. I cannot tell you if they will die brutally or whatever, but I can tell you they will die slowly. I can tell you that. And we have to understand one thing. I want to bring one thing to your attention. These online radios, they need a lot of funds. People are not everybody who came up with this idea of online radio did it in the name of nation building or being a patriotic or whatever. You have to know that some people did this or have been doing this and they get their living from it. And if this business, these online, so-called online radios continue, that's where they're going to get their money. They will continue to get their living from. But if it fails also, if the industry does not excel, then they almost facing an existential threat. They were having a lot of funds from big donors, in EU, from the EU, some, small organizations, human rights organizations in the EU, some outside the EU, also in America, here and there, human rights groups that are concerned about Africa in particular. They get big donations, but now that's not going to happen anymore. Trust me, because the dictator is no more. So we have to, I have been saying this, we have to be, mature thinkers. We have to think independently for ourselves. Let's not allow these radio hosts or radio owners to be able to, to just bring information and bring it to us in a way that they believe, that just makes us look like a fool. They just bring information and then expect us to consume it the way they bring it. I think that's not good from our side if we just take information just the way they bring it to us. And then the other thing that I want to talk about is the GDC. My problem with the GDC is I would advise everyone not to even attempt to vote for the GDC. Because these are a group of inexperienced people, a group of youths who came together, led by Mama Kande, with no degree, except for his online degree. And when I say with no degree, Mama Kande's education background, I always object to it, because the degree is an online degree. I'm not saying there's no online qualifications out there. But if you come up with an online certificate, you are asked about it. You could not verify the institution seemingly he talked about that his institution, his university, in an interview. He even seems to have forget the name of the university. So if you have that kind of person, who went to school, he said, according to him, learn about leadership, but it's not what that demonstrates is he's not willing to do what it takes to be a leader. Because to be a leader, you need to have certain qualities. You need to have good knowledge yourself. Everybody can jump into politics. Everybody can jump into the National Assembly to be a parliamentarian. Everybody can form your own party as long as the constitution allows it. But now we Gambians, our country is so backward, and we need to go forward. So that's why I think for the Gambia, for people who want to lead us, we have to set the standard a little bit higher. Because we did not set this bar so high that it was so easy for Yaya Jammeh to come and crush it. So we have to set the standard high. We don't have to leave people like, a group of people, a group of young people, or a group of, middle-aged men who have some business connections here and there, have some people in the diaspora who are willing to sponsor them, get connections for them, form their own parties. Especially a party like the GDC that branch from the AFPRC government. Mama had worked with Yaya Jammeh, and he never, set part with Yaya Jammeh except when they had, personal issues. They did not have issues because based on policies, and Mama was helping Jammeh to, to sign his bills into law. So effectively, they had problems, but it was based on personal. Jammeh just felt that he couldn't work anymore with Mama Kandeh, and he got fired. Guess what? He lost his seat. So GDC, to my own, the way I would describe them is just like, it's just a masquerade. If you uncover the masquerade, you'll see AFPRC. And the other thing that I want to talk about here, briefly, is the issue of the back way. This rumor going around that there are the government, our government, have signed something. This is unfound. The document is out there for everybody to see. You can look at the document if you want. This is a process that they have been trying, to implement since 2016. So then Barrow was not even president. So please do not, Barrow does not deserve that. He has a lot of things to do. Please do not put him into all these things. It's just not true. He has not signed anything. Okay? We all want to stay, in Europe here. We all want to make sure that we are not deported. But we can do this also by engaging into good conduct. Only good conduct, brothers and sisters. We are all here. Please, let's behave well. Let's not get into any illegal activity. Then we can all probably have a future in Europe if we want to. But please do not get yourself into any illegal thing. And the whole issue, it's also important to understand why the EU in Libya, or understand why the EU wants people out of Libya. It is important to know why the functions of the EU outside Europe. When European Union, they are a very powerful organization, and they do a lot of things outside Europe. But one of the major important things that they go out, when they go out of Europe, what they do is, number one is election observation. They do a lot of election observation. They do development assistance and humanitarian assistance. So those are the three important areas that I would like to talk about here. The development assistance and humanitarian assistance. What is happening in Libya is a humanitarian crisis. We have people being held as hostages. They have done absolutely no crime. They have committed no crimes at all. They are being just held there. So I think there's a humanitarian crisis that they need to help us. And understanding further the functions of the EU outside is we here in Europe, especially those of us here in Europe, we all understand that the European Union, those of us who live in Europe, it's very easy to move around in Europe. That's because they have this agreement, and the aim of the EU is to make sure that there are no physical or tax or technical barriers between European countries. So that could also be a security issue, that free movement of people. So what they try to secure the European Union is to make sure that they secure the borders outside the European Union. So if you have a border like outside Europe, they focus more on that than the internal ones. So external ones, this is where the Mediterranean falls. So the EU is in the interest of the EU to secure that area. And they also try to fight against illegal migration and people trafficking, human trafficking. So all those things are going on in Libya. So don't be surprised that if you find out that it is in fact the EU that is going out there to deport people from Libya to help the governments. to deport their nationality, their citizens back to their countries, because the EU fights against human trafficking and they fight against illegal immigration also. So I think we need to understand these issues before we jump to conclusion that this is what they are doing, this is what they are doing. You know, they have what they call the Frontex. The Frontex, basically what they do is it's like an organization formed by the EU, European country, members of the European Union. What they do basically is they provide logistics, military support, surveillance support for, you know, for any country that requested it. Like they have helicopters, they have vehicles, they have communication, they have, you know, surveillance devices. If you want to use those device any of those equipment to go to control to embark on a patrol to secure external borders of the EU, they can give it to you. So those of you who came through the back way, you can see that sometimes when people come to rescue you, they are not only Italians, they are also from other parts of Europe. So that's the reason. It's because they have a joint patrol team they call Frontex that patrols they patrol mostly external borders of the EU. So it's in the interest of the EU to go after people in Libya. So please, as a matter of security policy for the EU, if you see people being deported from Libya, do not think that it's because the EU is paying our government money. The EU definitely want people from Libya to be deported. That has nothing to do with our government. And I'll talk about the document also. If you look at it, they want to deport like only 300 from Europe, but 1,200 from Libya. So you can see that Libya here is very important for the EU to make sure that they deport people from Libya. Libya is very important for them. So, so if you think that Barrow is going to do this thing, because this is unprecedented, nobody has done it before. So I think you need to know that Barrow will not do this. No government has done this before. We all live here. We never seen a particular country send in immigrants, deport all their citizens who have no document, all of them all together. That has never happened before. And Barrow will not be the first person. I can tell you that. I'm not the spokesperson for him or whatever. You know, they are not going to do that. You know. So I also want to say, I think I want to convey this with an advice. That is, please stay clean, brothers and sisters, if you live in Europe. There is a lot of pressure coming from home. Everybody, we all know that. But just don't take too much pressure. If you take too much pressure, that can also bother you. That can pressure you to indulge in some activities that can be illegal. So make sure that you stay away from violence, you stay away from drugs, crime of any sort. Please, let's stay away from it. And then, you know, focus on the real issues that we have to, you know, the real things that we have to do to make sure that we succeed in our lives, but not this issue of Adama Barrow is sending people, or the EU has sent and signed an agreement with the Gambia government to deport us. That's nothing. That is, you know, that's not happening right now. So we also I want to say something here also. That is, let's take advantage of the situation here we have. That is, you know, we engage in their economy positively. Let's go to school. Let's learn. Vocational trainings are available. We can get into all those things. We have to be smart, you know. If you are smart, you are willing to participate in the economy in anywhere you live in Europe, they will be willing to keep you instead of, you know, kicking you out. So let's do away from any crime, no felony, no violent crime, no drugs crime. I think we should be right. We should be fine here in Europe. And the last thing that I want to talk about here in English is the issue of Halifa Sallah. We have seen Halifa Sallah come out, you know, and spoke about, you know, the way the people have been, you know, labeling his party and all that, you know, describing him as somebody who is a potential obstacle to the Barrow government if he is elected, or even now he is being an obstacle. So I'm not here to continue the negative rhetoric, okay? I have great respect for Halifa Sallah, and what I would like to say is that let's all parties listen to one another. Not only Halifa should listen, the UDP should listen, NRP should listen, all the other parties need to listen. Because in the end, if we don't listen, it's going to be a very big disgrace if this is the first major political activity of the coalition. So if there is no agreement on that, I think this is going to be a disgrace. So let's listen to one another. He talked about a precondition of a particular party coming up with 36 seats for the National Assembly. I'm not assuming it's true because I cannot verify that. I have only heard from him, and I'm not going to use I'm not going to, you know, just perceive that to be the truth. So, but he talked about a particular party coming up with 36, you know. So if any party came up with 36 seats as a proposal before the negotiations begin, I think that's not a good precondition. And if anyone does that, I think those people also need to listen. what I find disturbing in that he said those people who came up with those ridiculous numbers said they have nothing to negotiate. It's not for negotiation. So if you came up with 30 or 36 or 20 or 26 or whatever figure and you say it's not negotiable, I don't think that's a good precondition. But as I'm being honest here, I'm not assuming it's true. I'm not also denying whether it is authentic or not. Mr. Salah is a credible person. Mr. Salah is a respected person. So I know he will not come out just to defend PDIOs and just to defend Doi and start lying to us. So if in fact there's a party out there who came out with a proposal of 36 or so, I think that party has to consider, definitely speaking. And now I would like to turn to Mandinka here, please. Musa fatama go mbe nadia mole kam nekete go mbe wutelal de ndemu ko to maldi. So badi ngol ino lafta ka mem fo jang wolem ko follow lafta mem fo la wolem namol mfangol la molu diaspora jang e dabe siarim bak ye bankam be sayolal bari dabe siarim andum mol me yalon ko e be ndiamo beke kan e diamo ni ya dari ku jamal la e ko follow non adama barol angale kam fo nyalu ala parewo ka bu ko sodum yikuma jamal fo ala ministre birayol fanal appoint e ko fanal maninkol siata jele sidol man siaje bar biring adama na ramo dol employé o ko landile ci lenin ku dolel fanal bidaga baro molde e sabartanu ya jambele sanyi mo anim fula dol fo bi jena do ko kele ina man ko ya fenna fo ya jambe fo la tajirante ya wala ne tul boto ya jambe ko so mol me yalla koy sabarta ya jambe sanyi mo anim fula wala nata e man sabarnu adama baroy kar fula so namira wo mu kulete me yalla ko miranta yalam adu mol manyana ke ila moy mari nyolla bari ko APRC kete nyamen rom be fanal kala wala nyama APRC mo be yalla ate bayla be burkala le o mari nyo fanal bi ala sonte ala be barko bole la ko to nyama e burka wo nyama because ni e kanyi menketen ay negative impact sotole ndol be manke komen like mo be manke komen nim ibe patio to patio me yalla ko nay ko kita fonola but the problem is nimbe patio o mbebe politiko ko o mbebe na banko kan atole al nyatli mo kilingol lal ka diamol damal ko damal ka jafi sa ni wole ku krunge sa pour mol ya fo fana because atole o mari nyol ke nyama wolen ko ku jawodo wolle kake abe ko lealal pour mole na nga to nyafo wole atol ni wol mari nyol tema al kanatu mol attaque la hani man fenke wo manke kudi mela nga correctale anu la faka kuma do fale wala ko wala ko ni radio online radio même la problème di sain e ko do sodol de nundo ha e ko do sodo ba atul men fanke la moy o fonde ko do sodo jele bot mu nekata e ka donol me yalan ko lebe Europe jani European Union ni bla ko don do wala ka ko di jama dila e ka baluni wala ke fam muna fannu wala wolta ko do dili la kotake wolta so la ko do kotake because mu nekata sain ya jambe borijo ya jambe le tubabol silanu dictato ñu wolé silanu ala manya siata amon kulu amon mo horma amon mo bunya ka mol butela ka mol fala ka musol nyapin kanne so sainteng itol aba dula la pour ye ko do soto wol because dictato to je so itol se menkeno wolem ka make so atol ke jibe wato wati ka itanda la wato wani na radio do fank ka itanda la somna kamera gambia fango dimbala be malakan sai atara ko amanke ko gambe dimbala be malakan gambia political be je normal political wala be tamaka so please alangan ke ko nyumol me yalan ko e bela interest le noma e wolen ko ka make so ka kitanda to la wato ko gambe be durne nyini keda e may kar ko dem kar kanen kayeten politician ol da maltema ka make so ko atole fanal you stay focus ko me alke la moy nu nyamen ale la moy nyama so wobe ku man rakere me yatina mo nyanda la rumo si falla anu la faka fem fanam about GDC because I have a very big problem with GDC the fact that Mama Kande and his crew, and as long as they are concerned, is a group of young men. Many along go, they are very, very well in experience and knowledge. Believe that Gambia a big chance at all, and a big rights at all. Purka dark political. Electoral danta daoda ndeto fonola fonyante dakaleje fo manyane dakaleje constitutional nyanta ko. Okay, but Gambia antol menke tantolla nga wiriso menke manna da wiriso la baramadale. Gambia baramada fo ya dingo dolfa. So kuja malakata Gambia so wala nante ko. Nimmo findita pour que political party lo o mari nyanta kala multi me yalonko nyanta standard race la bakelo pour na leader solie say na kabo say Gambia nyanta na leadership man be taraje nyanta standard race la le manya na tula nyi nyama dron ko kafu ko momo na rasi suruku no jele bu ngolam droit da be yelina ha fen na droit si dunno je because ni dol dunta yedo bula yedo ala wodunda ni wodunda ta fenti la de ngaji jana ya jame biringa chance man kuol kan mana bunda garde bak ya jame biro dunda menke je so alin kana song modo ke mama kande mu kankuron ri melan ko kankuron ne jafo ni wura do be ya jame tara sirinje yaya jambele be siri mama kandela kankuran jafo ko mama kande mo kankuran walti trust me atebe dia mo men bela kana wori yaya jambe mama kande GDC ibekele they are all the same go GDC ka believe ni principle ol menani GDC ka believe ni menna I will come here lundo na video do rambe o folale janne me yalon ko amanke rumote ndela fo ngone ngai diamuta GDC executive be yalon ko ani mama kandete mayta mo sabaf continue very full executive or dal I don't want to go into that details but la fa kaytanda ko ngo GDC ka believe nyame rumol la ka ifansu rumol create nyame ani silata to la diamol la nyame ani silata mol la kaja firo la nyame do pour que mo me yalon ko wollel ke mama kandani GDC attack e malla fi wala anu ila ikatu sobirine all the time GDC kata sobirine ata dalil bu ko tarebul lundo mbe o kachala wota kunna bi kacha kono I will come up with that but there's one thing lafa kamem fanam fo wala ko ni rumo me yalon ko abe kerim ka fo ko ilafta ka mol burule o agreement o sign le okay ni tabe Europe je fo ye mire just be honest to yourself e sanyi jala ke Europe ni sanyi kilina ke Europe alon ko before ni lungo be sila ina ne amole sinya kilin ni sanyi fula ke Europe alon ko sinya fule ne nyun ko male because ni almost sanyi wo sanyi ko nyin ka fintile ko ay ko be migrant ol sendile janning ya adama boro fon be sila almost every year aka fintile so alga dalini rumo la silang alin kana si ka fo don ko ifelenting adam boro na la mol fele na be na hajoti nyala dol fon kam neke e ka murle ka nen e ka loya dabo nen ba fa because atlen foreign minister ta dilo le sign or something like that please kan e fam batandi nyinga fole sangosang nde as long as I know ngasan nyin sanyi danta mo men ki Europe every yang ka moyle mol kan kol na Europe from Italy from Germany amanke to nyati andum ning sayndi roba kala Europe min ka priority wala mol ko ka kaso ko so ni ta man kaso ko no ite bela asylum procedure no ma yede bila kala karamo du kare nya kala karam ko yete la hajola ida bo nyula rumo la ko do don't even listen to them ndol nyanta men kala wala ko alanga daji ko falling nga daji ka kendol ta andum to nyalam society ka behavior fallen même problème o nga silale ni deport Gambia am dol fon bu ka sila ko ni da Gambia be felal because they know they are willing to work hard but the thing is nita Gambia mol ka fele te fel tale iseke nyama to fo nyama mai ba fele nyama hani ko mo nga pilen baji la waral ko ten dos asda fo doy akanya pilen do wala warta sata or something like that so can see fa lele ye ko mo confusion modi so therefore nobody wants to be deported and you can understand that frustration amanko go Gambia la kuyata Gambia manke fenati but kanyim be fo wala kanyim be kema ko yenyim be understand kanyim be faram fancy mole so wala I want to talk a little bit about comme EU the European Union ni finde the European Union kono e kam muneka ela do ko mente ni finde European Union kono number 1 wala e katale ka carte e ga atondi e ka election observation okele e ka development assistance kele e ka humanitarian assistance fanankele so ni ajibe ni moko ndeka humanitarian assistance lege membe keren Libya is a humanitarian crisis. That itself is a humanitarian crisis. And EU, whether in Tulkana Bakwe or Lambukana Bakwe, EU la function them ka humanitarian crisis all over the world, and EU la function them to curb illegal migration. Walenka molka dunela ila bankol kang through Bakwe ka control. EU la interest la fanandi pour ka make sure ka fanam fight. So Tulkana je ko Tulkana fanje nyum ko kono. Fonga landa tambi ngamera ko nyum ko be mun to la masakunda dal ni to la masakunda lembang to la masakunda bi atije European Union na interest lam kaje ko mol membe Libya be na kan Europe ke murundi Gambian katana anu ne ajibe yen document men bondi iko document o nyim e plano men ke je wolam ka make sure ko ka mo wili kilin keme anen keme dantan sayndi keme jama kay kawol sayndi barol ko no ni na rajibe keme sabada mal be bola Europe jam e be men sayndi la wol funal be kala jumal men nan ko isontale ya understand okay I will come to that details later but inara ko fana ko e be mo bon la Libya was 1200 so akamuta Libya si abar Libya be mo bolay 1200 anu Europe 300 so isa ufon sa inde ko nyum projet ko kono même priority to wolen kam molu bondi kabo Libya kasay iboda damendo ke bondi ni smugglal bulu ni criminal minal ke kidnap ka fo 1000 ojo 2000 ojo 3000 euro jo ngebula wo criminal li bol kele kan at the same time humanitarian crisis ya molu mem mutay ba tray ko nafa kawol kanandi so ni be je itebe Libya itebe Europe jang ya mera fo kanetel noma ita manke human traffic adi e mantra na kete noma e manke drug dealer di mantra na kete noma ita manke felonti e manke criminality kana believe ko European Union kanetel noma European Union la function wolen ka security ida mawol tema je ka nyola border e ka border nyimbule ida mawol tema ndol men bebe ja we all know katama no le freely kata nyim banku do le bedo even though there are technicalities here and there, but within Europe it's easier to travel. But ila policy oma mera oma keko ibuka kantaroke wala ne kamul bele ka tamila banko kan European Union ka kantaro nin tanko ke dame bage wala la external border ni finita Europe bandala. So Mediterranean fana bo blado so wala fana kat ne la presence ka siaje e la presence ka sia Mediterranean weda mol ka dun nanjela bay bu ka dun nanjela gamenol kataje be tarrajela because la external border lanjedi ila security policy lam pour ka presence wo blado so wala tane ka foso de ka fame Frontex abe jana tondi they are based in Warsaw Poland e wol ka fo wala meyalan ko European Union la dada motol be bulle helicopter be bulle kulung bakano be bule kulundingol everything logistic communication surveillance abe device be bule ka make soko nim any country lafta ko pour katani patrol la ka border patrol rek e ka wo logistic support ni diom country ni la anin country men lafta kafla nyoma eta wala natul men dara bako ni aje sometimes angale la kal rescue sometimes Norwegian be jana no sometimes Croatian be jana every EU citizen alse jeno wo blado wo rescue blado ide hanita fama amere be mo fenkode italiano das kino ten men be diam ko wala italiano bani ta captain non ku non je wajala ko o de nationality final ka taraje because mun nekata Frontex la ma manke Italian navy wala kanatol noma Frontex la kanana wala EU so mo nyanta ngana understand ko ndol nata bakwe manna bakwe European Union be la boda kantalale ya understand so kanam fanje nyum ko kono fo nganyina European Union fo la etol kam menke ndol bi jebang nti jebang itol ni rescue mission they will be doing it to make sure that ikata ila kulungol men fananga tamini njela ka make sure ke protect against pirates so ila interest member joko is too much ndol kanam fanje je fo ngamira ko baroye wafi o double wafi war is just it's just silly politics. And one thing also left coming for the whole ko nyinda manke Europe jang menu bebe jande kan all witness ka fo dron ko banku dole yala molki nan pour kana la banku di man kayto so ka be deport wonene man soto Europe kono jang so barota o follow la don't believe it ni moli a foye ite mem man kayto so ila kaydi ko noma bulela kayto no ne kayto so be a good boy ila mecho noma jang ni la karam tambi da mecho la lay higher level because gambe no dol bi jang wol higher level of education e bebul go to the university, fight your way in, get the requirements, get your education wala yete na fa dan yeta wafiro or anything kana mira nyum ko la nyimmene an ko moni na maka adama barote follow ay nyinke so ni lafta ike mira fo ibeste la Europe nyamen nam nde men fole yanni ba fole fay ko barole be mol kila nan pour muta o ite mol kila nan man ko gamen fo alam nasira ba ma dasiri sa ko ni monta baro mu mega siraha dugare stay clean in Europe ya ande so wala fone ya narnu ite lata ko ni Europe no le chance la kasi nyim banko kanjang ibe kukela le me an ka be Europe la economy abe Europe no drafala le dugare inyas kela hajo kebe menkega ye dawa nyum mol kula koldo ibe men to Europe ye focus wokan and also comme presso comme na fanu nyame angale kan presso ka sias wo kono su kono ko demands are high they expect a lot of things from you but nonetheless what is just bound to happen you cannot do away from your family ite bono le do fereng wata kenolo I will not advise anybody to do that but ne presso ni absorb the way akana nyame sometimes akamuneke ake put le in the presso kaje ko ite fongo baraka ite fonke fanjelo ko I'm not doing enough so you want to do something me alonko akake illegal activity le ibida kala deal here and there and munaka ke ikane fambula in a situation me alonko adata ntela adata adama baro adata loyal adata jojola men se sabatin do Europe ni bulata feloni kono ibesa indilale so please ila hajo noma kana preso ta membe lana tamila e bula kula ibit me alon ko assess samono assess deport no ibe deport la deportation without negotiation so you need to be smart in that area please no violent crime don't involve yourself into any violent crime no drug offenses kana dum no kana dum crime kono at all focus on what you have to do in Europe to make yourself a better person anywhere ibita live la dami ye fan nafa anu near fast money so well you can build your life I don't care how you get your money but the thing is near fan nafa karangole me cho so o londo so higher education university anywhere ekela life doma ekela income gen doma so wodo mo in a transparent way in a credible manner ngamira wala gena kumar dan yakodo so fast money molka fo drongo e fast money la so because it can la dilari for the rest of your life so lafa the last part that I want to talk about today is Olen Halifala Kodi. I think that Naka Diamuta, a comforter. I was somehow not feel a comforter nyame. But Kebala Mati, and Mulia respect la back. So I would advise anybody many along ko ka blunt ka tawdron ka kangol lakam yeah stop because negative rhetoric science and more need. We don't need people who are going to continue that kind of attacks, personal attacks here and there, PDIs attack here and there. More money, more men need, represent like in parliament. So let's focus on that selection process, and also we should focus on what? Getting more seats. That's even more important. So alngan dabo ndamol coalition damabe new attack is not going to help at all at a mall makwela. So let's do away from that. Alngan lamo nyola. I kuma dolo for me along I want to left ko kumo emphasize jam fanan ko dege. Comme ko bring diwa mo nyimbe kay do la negotiation bla coalition ako modol natale woluni la precondition na ka fo ko do la frasiran tansabanins worolla or something like that ko wolni wona as a precondition wol mari nyol ko itol to negotiate la so ngamira wo fana wo bekala hakil nasolti narno mari nyol ni wona because nga halifa la ko molo mo manyin dol ta moy andunta kan wala mo kan jam so narno ko tonya wole keta mole nata je me alon ko ate mu party leader di ay party le represent ako siran tansaba ani woro itol bo le tala in the coalition andum itol to negotiate no la ngamira o mari de mari hakilo a jam fa bakal ni ngata no wala gara ma fo wala gara ngamoy halifa la aya fo menuma ma wol tamoy so but nsa fo ko fana narnum ko yo kele mo lew ko o mari nyol nyandi la audition o consider la wo manke kuti me alon ko as a coalition o ma ko no la as asama adama baro ma ko no la I'm not here for any negative rhetorics anu PDIs ngalon na broda le malino fake profile ol siara bulu dukar ali am fama mal ma fen alkana ma nka men foja wolanko halifa ay même befo mala kuma bay mala kuma fana nda tonya ni because mamodo the other side ni me moy so alla fake profile nal be mala al salo kama ko mam fen fo me alon ka jabata halifa what I'm saying is I mean for ni wala kata those people in the concern le andum narnum fana wala kata ima o manke o mari nyula I think they also need to come out a femfo ko itol brita negotiation da ni jelle tata je because halifa ko tan sabani woro galni wonnare andi ko ta negotiate la so o mari nyul ngamiri fran nyante la decision o jibe kulale ya jibe ak halifa kam fara fo la bangata fanko adi yamuta nyamen a rontale alo na ka diamu nyamen bi nyin dulata manta diam kukan you know but hadamadi mo be kan nasile you know that's sometimes you could expect that you know ni molke nyaka tilile ka e ka bulela 15 ke you know il after la character tinyala il after ke la political party la character tinya because ni mo political there is no secret ko momo ka lole ke la party defend what there is no secret about that wo muto nyaldi mo be me alango you know mo me alango atata ni negotiation blado o be coalition lo kono I be ka la party interest e ka wala represent so I think it's normal politics it's normal game pour mo be naje ya foko ndako lafta nyina but ningata no mola nin tan sabani woro nyin nara ndako siadale ndefe that's too much but still I'm verify I don't hear from the other side so I think we all need to listen so at the same time I would like to come down to the party supporters al ngado mon namang aba durina nak there is a lot of fire going around but nyaje ndamal ka nyuma I would say ndeba attribute la mena wala online radio lebem fay ka nyoka bari to laftale ka tuje imam pare gambia tala ito lafta ka tuje ibe membe ke kan wolen ka make so kayran dala ko anytime ko gambia be bon kan gambia kule be ke gambia be tay kan wata min fongol be gambia wol ko dol je social media le bar wol fongol mam bo kalam so e ka conspiracy ba katan way ka wala jang wolen ko ibal muta kan kal ka to just to keep you tuning into their radios their online radios I have no problem with their radios unless they target my people because you can not target kaitani la ko alinyanda ka believe nyina la anu in document men finta bi if ni men sula la I don't know if it's it's just going to be time consuming but it's personal even right now the EU document ni promo beaje because I think it's very very important document ni molbe nyaaje ya long document ni mine ba kono EU fo mo yayi tandire ko document ni kono ko la silanda mu mendi wala mansakunda da sonna ke makoy so document ni a findital kabrin 2016 iba doku kan bari itol fo mantra laring ila rex kono document ni ajibe rex ya kejel ko silata ko mansakunda da sonna ke makoy pour ka ni molu murundi andu silata fanam ko mol fanal te sonna kasay so comme voluntarily them if ngol bita yafo ko alenta bitale because financial reward le beta and job training and all those things. So hani menu yalon ko 300 migrants wala nyata ko Europe ten wo fo ngoy ko be silare ne wo 300 do nyibe silare ne ko masa kunda de ma corporate la fully la tela nyamen and wo mol final to sonna kata because wol nyanda kala munadi voluntarily ko be selal. So there is a lot of technicalities here, but menu ka foale come kanyum online radio tiol mom fale den disgusting people. I hate these people to be honest with you. I'm not launching any personal attacks, but these people are very, very disgusting. So what they do is a headline sifal post le. Yeah, understand it? So near post, more many alonko they are lazy. They don't read a lot. They don't want to read a lot. They don't want to dive into the root problems. World Cup believe le drong. Koha Halifa Sallah felende aloa dabani adam borof la molu wafi. Anu nyulumang kodo accept. Development assistance funds in control being amole bring carte for your tambi direct EU kodo kodo la Gambia anu budget assistance for kananan so atemil alba mo la koto EU yo kodo di Gambia so nali wol moy alkana mira ko ikana bakwe ko le exchange wala wo man kede that is completely false waka kele EU ka Gambia mako le ne ya kala no over the years because ya jammenu ya jambel bijenu. Yeah, understand? Ni ya jame man ben because of ya jame human rights records. Comme nga EU la primary functional même fale ni finita humanitarian election observation, humanitarian assistance, development assistance. EU la function tambida wala. Ni tara fo nyaro what they do is they try to help you with clean water projects, food security, disease prevention. Eka wol begele. Okay, but ni na itamida stage wol bela. Furthermore, what they try to do, the EU kamenke wolem, they try to encourage you to open your market for the international market because ni oga drong ite famo you know it even business okay and wo motor final interest lady then furthermore they encourage you to emulate democracy and the rule of law so EU kata step by step so ngani menje tang science and nien EU le function sol menje ngani lu fale killing there's no strange thing here ye femfenke Gambia ye fenke Gambia ye femfenke Libya is all part of their function wala ñin demand development assistance, humanitarian assistance, election observation, food security projects, clean water projects, disease prevention, what's the other one again? You know, you name them, a lot of them. They also do this, you know, I forget the ninth one. It's a lot. They do a lot. You know, they fight against, they help developing countries to fight against man-made disasters. They do all that, fighting against diseases and infections. So you know, then they try to encourage you to emulate democracy and the rule of law. They encourage you, you know, to open your markets to, you know, to trade with international organizations, other countries in your region, other countries in other continents, including the EU. So EU better interested no, but at the same time, so yenyi mol me boni Libya is part of a humanitarian crisis purpose. Alta mol yin kay menu dokol ni banul dokol ni la koto nyul muta Libya iko ko al ransomol kienang. I believe, trust me, we have all seen images from Libya. They were very disturbing. Humanitarian crisis lam. Anu Gambian fenkol fanal finditale Gambian activisol ya fale ko britol fongol tata Gambia ini adama baro diam tale pour ay makoy mol me Libya ye makoy. So there is nothing new going on here. Please. Alanga domandama mukana mo blame. There is no blame game here. But abe new online radios, fake news sites. As long as they are not politicians, sometimes I find it difficult to go after them. But if you talk like a politician, we will go after you like a politician. Man, understand it. So we will keep it like this. But if you go after us, after our people, our system, our government, like a politician, like a main opposition party, because they believe that diaspora is a constituency and is a political party at the same time. Don't get me, I'm not contradicting myself. They are a constituency, diaspora, constituency lamud, diaspora, political party lamud. The new opposition. Can you imagine? You cannot believe what goes on in their head. The government they fought so hard to build, to bring to power. Now they are wasting all their energy. They are putting in all their energy to destroy the same government. And then a lot of revelations are coming out. This will not be any personal attack. But I can tell you this. Ijamama ke ale, yake posole, imake ale, yake palasole, but a baby wanyar lele killing. Ha, imari nyol funding unless and until yesa yela lal kono, that is ye surrender. bar ni ko tambote la te sembela I balanda ko la budda fo to leka oppositional di don fo ko oppositional mbe expose la because ite keloke pour ite ke ministre ye keloke pour ke permanent secretary ye keloke pour ke press secretary ye keloke pour ta ke president wala security di aninka keloke banko e amanke kilimoti so nyimol men alon ko they have some hidden agendas wala be noise make come they are the new opposition sign ite from you cannot believe it. This is justice very disturbing very very disturbing yele energy bewes kata government men makoy ka make so ka ya jame bondi je ka government put in place wo government na droite e ko tilingal iko non ndeni nyinde when can you be satisfied are you a bitch what we have some new topic force iko adama baroke pare nyame hani ala independent lunga la muso sinde nyame ala muso sinde nyame they try to dive into all that and manke kukuta de before we kamuneke ni online radio han football ye banne they did all that yanga beje la kuja malel keta hani futu bungol ko ne ka dunjele ni mon topic soto I can tell you that they do it they they go into people's households ika mulla futu kasara ika kamol la mulki ka sunyar kamol la mulkan iba fla mole ko karya by school karle the karbay jet nyin la kar because sunyarol ke kuma sifal without any source without no credible source so le faka même fale sen Gambia ding ele faka information on soto Kari Gambia website sol visit the Point newspaper, point.gm, ikartaje, observer GM, ikartaje, ikari visit, independent newspaper, bijele, visit those websites, not the websites, many along ko mari nyolbe basirin janne, ibuka pare, ka information about ka verify, ma fo ebe, I will not brush them all with one paint, but what I'm telling you is, many along ko ka pare breaking news in IT, alike kuto information on jala mostly is wrong because it's disgusting and it's very disturbing like a sitting minister in the Gambia me alonko ama fan sorong it's not close to the media ama is open to the media afan abe ama fa wara media dan media ka diamul ye kumo fo ma o mare finti ay na fo man ki toñat media o ko man credible because mo la media be open na science and information ko bo Gambia le lafta la nyame so ni ku ye doubt ye kumo moy please ala la social confirm in Gambia through journalists activists, party militants, even from the very ministers themselves. Some of you can have contact with them. Rather than these online radios, many are going to call kiple pral karila moila all the time to make their nasty living. That is not fair. So mbele kana video dan bi, ninga memfo mena kura me alka mandi I'm sorry. I have great respect for Halifa and nyajanga Halifa la mola kufu baka they always say UDP kamul attack le and here and there but believe me, I know PDOIS. I can message you send dumale. Moment and Rose no me PDOIS ngola nyim fake profile Chelsea. Trust me. I know some of them they do things many along Halifa will not go even anywhere near those things. Halifa na neto kuzivaga. So I think it's also important to me along party support. Nga kuke me along our leaders will approve. Eka kuke me along near leader koleka left and nyeka la bavle go ahead. That's what you should be proud of. But ika fake profile create, ika mol banenje, ika party leader banenje, woman ke party activism di, woman ke political di, woman ke campaign di, woman ke militant yari. So thank you very much and have a blessed Sunday. Bye bye.